Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Today, I want to give first of all, I'll introduce myself. I'm Rochelle Langdon with One Digital, and I'm the Director of Compliance and Integration at One Digital and on the board at Ahu. Nice to see everybody today. Thank you for joining. I just want to give a quick shout out to Stacy Dexter, who's one of our sponsors. She's with Consumer Medical, and we're just very delighted to have all of our sponsors that made this happen today. And our speaker today is Jeff Thorne, and he is with Plative. He is going to speak about how a robust CRM can help you build your business. Jeff is a Salesforce Solutions Architect at Plative, and it's a New York-based technology consulting partner. Over the past 6+ years, Jeff and his colleagues have worked to design and implement Salesforce platform solutions for businesses across the financial services sector, including insurers and brokerages, asset managers, banks, credit unions, fintechs, and so on. So I just want to go ahead and let Jeff get started, and if there are any questions, we'll definitely take questions at the end of the session. So feel free to go ahead and chat, type some questions into the chat as we move forward, and we'll make sure that we address those towards the end of the session. And I will go ahead and turn it over to Jeff. Thanks so much for joining us.
You betcha. Thank you very much for having me. So as you mentioned, I'm a Salesforce solution architect, and what that really means is I work with businesses to understand some of the challenges they might be having in things like managing their pipelines, their contacts, their opportunities, marketing initiatives, and so on, and how we could streamline that in an easy to use platform where we can get some visibility and transparency to our business. As such, I've been designing Salesforce solutions for many years across many different types of businesses to really better understand our customers, better understand our prospects, and really be providing a way to get some visibility into the business in terms of how is my team doing, which products are we doing selling well, what's my account penetration look like, how are renewals trending, things like that. So really today I'm going to do a bit of a CRM 101 where we talk a little bit about CRM, what is it, how it applies to the group benefits industry in particular, and then from there I'll walk us through an actual product demonstration of Salesforce that I've built out, which will show us a bit of a day in the life, both from either a producer or rep standpoint as well as a management standpoint where I can go in and really get a pulse on the business at any given time. So with that, I'm gonna turn off my video just to preserve some bandwidth, and I'm gonna share a bit of a deck just going through a bit of an introduction. But we'll get to the fun stuff, which is the actual demonstration where we can walk through what does a CRM look like for me and how can we use it within this industry. So with that said, I'm going to share my screen real quick. And please, if someone can confirm when we are able to see my deck.
Yes, Jeff, we're able to see it. Thank you.
Okay, excellent. So as mentioned, we're going to go through CRM 101. And the presentation today will be a quick 2 slides on us, as in myself and Plative and who we are. Then we'll actually go through a bit of an explanation of CRM, how it applies to businesses, some common use cases that I've seen within the benefits industry, and then onto that demonstration. So a little bit about the firm that I work for, Plative. We are a Salesforce consulting partner based out of New York City, but we also do other platforms as well. So ERPs like Oracle, NetSuite, as well as Amazon Web Services, if you want to do things like create data lakes and do big data analysis and so on. We've got 5 office locations, but the majority of our staff sits in North America here. And I, as a solution architect, work with a portfolio of financial companies right from Boston all the way down to the tip of Florida over to Texas. And we've worked with companies big and small across a gamut of industries. As you can see, everything from Casper mattresses right over to instrument manufacturers, investment banks, and as well insurance providers, group benefits providers, and so on. So from all these different clients that we've worked with, we really get a lot of different lessons learned about pitfalls that people try to overcome when they're looking to implement technology into their business, and as well get a good lens on best practices so that we can help firms develop a strong technology perspective and roadmap for the future. So we're going right to the basics. First level class in university here, CRM 101. What is it? Essentially, CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management. And really, it's one of many different approaches that allow a company to manage and analyze its own interactions with its past, its current, and its potential customers. CRM leverages and uses data analysis about a customer's history with your company to improve business relationships, specifically focusing on key things like customer retention and ultimately driving sales growth. Now, a lot of companies say, you know what, I'm doing this on Excel today, it's working well. Why do companies adopt this? And the challenge that we really have is when you have information in disparate systems or sources. For example, we've got information in Outlook, maybe in a benefits admin system, sitting in Excel, maybe in a paper list or a shared drive. It's really tough for us to get a complete picture of who our clients and customers are. Where do our opportunities lie for things like growth, upsells or cross-sells, renewals management, and so on. So CRM helps us overcome many of these challenges. And those challenges would be transparency and visibility into our pipelines, some workflow management processes, ease of reporting, scalability of a system, simple contact management, opportunity management, and things like campaign management too. So if we do seminars or roadshows, if we have email marketing initiatives, how do we tie that all back into a single system where I can look at a client and understand everything about them, all the interactions they've had with us, and as well, what we can do to better grow and strengthen our relationship with them. Now, who are the key users of CRM? Obviously, you're going to have your sales team or your producers or reps. You can have customer service folks helping to service the clients we already have, operational folks to do things like workflow management. Workflows common would be, hey, setting up new elections, taking track of qualifying life events, managing terminations, and so on. And really, CRM allows all of us to do this. So in the demonstration I'm going to walk through today, there's going to be some key topics that we will cover. First off, lead management and prospecting. So really what this means in Salesforce is how could CRM enable us to route leads quickly and efficiently to the best rep or producer for that region, that business size, whatever it might be, and then prioritize leads based on the data that's important to me as a firm. Do I care about the prospective amount of business we're getting based on the amount of lives a firm may have? Maybe we want to know if they've got expiring policies with competitors coming up that we want to try to get in front of. Do I want to do things like track my referral sources? So as we know, referrals are a great source of new business for many firms, and we want to be able to track and understand who's a proponent of our business and really helping us spread the word. Also making sure that we're following up and nothing falls through the cracks. If someone's indicated some sort of interest and maybe we need to follow up in 6 months, how do we make sure that we don't forget that and that is memorialized within a tool that's going to help me to better engage? As well, how do we prioritize and determine who should be included in marketing initiatives we have? If I'm having a seminar or a roadshow in New York State, how do I isolate and understand everyone that I should invite to that, who I've actually sent invites to, and maybe who's actually attended or followed up? And then from there, we can also do things like track competitive landscapes. If I speak to potential clients and we know that they already have a plan today, when does that plan expire? Who's that plan with? When should I be getting in front of them before they actually engage in a renewals process? These are some of the things we'll cover in the lead management, prospecting, and campaign management section of my demonstration. As well, active account management. How can I better engage my customers and clients today? So this is going to help us with things like reporting and better understanding my book of business, including plan breakdowns, different types of elections for each different client we have, and so on. And then how can we maybe look at that list and actively market to customers based on the white space we see within those accounts? Where do we see opportunities to grow or deepen our book of business with a client? And how can I leverage a tool like CRM to help me do that? As well, if someone calls in and has inquiries or customer service cases, maybe new hires that they'd like to put on a plan, how can I help manage that effectively in Salesforce? And then from there, the key is also reporting and business intelligence. Understanding not just my pipeline and sales, but where do my opportunities lie within the current accounts that I already work with and service today. And then from there, we're also going to look at some pipeline and renewal management. So the CRM is going to walk through with an illustrious example how we can answer certain questions like what business is in the pipeline today? What does my forecast look like for growth year over year, quarter over quarter, region over region? and what needs to happen next in terms of winning over a new client. Where are we performing well? Where are we not? And more importantly, who's performing well? So I can start to identify training opportunities for my staff, for example. And then with things like renewals, where do I see opportunity to increase premium from an account? What gaps can I address in my renewals meetings and presentations? And how are we actually doing on renewals in terms of increasing premium, adding more products, and so on? And with that said, I'm going to take a quick breath because I feel like Michael Phelps right now, but we're going to move over to a demonstration. We'll walk through a bit of a day in the life in Salesforce and show you exactly what that looks like. Alrighty, and if anyone could confirm that they can see the Salesforce environment that I'm looking at right now. Rochelle, are you able to see that screen?
Yes, I'm able to see it. Thank you.
Excellent. Perfect. Thank you very much. All right, so right now I've logged into a Salesforce environment. And there's a few things that I'm going to point out right from the get-go. First off, everyone has a unique username and ID. So when I log into Salesforce, I'm going to see things like the leads that I'm responsible for, as well as maybe opportunities that I have currently on the go for new business. Most importantly as well, I'm going to see the upcoming renewals in my book of business so I can start to plan for them. Also understanding things like when that renewal is, what stage are we at in that renewal process, what are the coverages that are currently active, and where do I find opportunity. Also, we can see things like a dashboard. Now, this dashboard is a collection of all key reports that I like that help me run my day. Now, in this case, since we're a little short on time, I've showed a dashboard from an executive view. So here, if I want to know things like what's the new premium that we've secured this quarter, or what does the pipeline look like in terms of what stage we're at in the quoting process? What about my reps? Who's actually keeping busy, doing a lot of phone calls, meetings, emails, prep, and other things? And what does the pipeline look like by a particular producer or rep? So we can really understand who's doing a great job, who might need some coaching opportunity, and so on. Another good example of data that we'd want to see on a home screen are my tasks and my events. So Salesforce syncs bidirectionally with your email and your calendar. So whether you're on Gmail or whether you're on Outlook, if I create a new task or a reminder in either of those systems, it's going to transfer to the other one as well. So we're always on the same page. So for example, I can see I've got a few tasks today to discuss a current plan with Angela, set a meeting to present a renewal, and as well an automated renewal reminder. So this is a good example of in Salesforce, we can have automations, which would really represent, hey, say for example, 3 months out from every renewal that we have, we want to make sure that we set out a cadence of tasks for the person who's responsible to manage that renewal so that we're right in front of it. We've done our preparations and really understood how we can best position that. Then as well, different events that might come from my Outlook calendar. So today I can see that I've got a New York benefits seminar. I want to find some targets to invite. And as well, maybe I want to do a white space report to target customers who don't have a certain coverage, in this case, vision. So from there, I'm going to go through a little bit of a day in the life where first off, I'm going to look at leads. So here are the new leads that come in that are routed to my name. Now you can get leads in Salesforce in many different ways. First off, from referrals or word of mouth, I can manually input leads into the system, but we can also connect things like a contact me form from our website, where a business owner can reach out and say, hey, we're looking for a new benefits plan. Can you help me out? Salesforce can automatically consume all the information that we ask from that landing page. And then from there, depending on which rep covers that particular state or region, can put it right in their name. So with that said, I'm going to go to what we call my leads list in Salesforce. But quickly before I do, I forgot one thing I really want to point out here. At the top, we can see this search bar. Now you want to think of the search bar like the Google for the CRM. If I want to search someone's name, an account, a policy number, maybe I missed a phone call and I want to see if we have that number in the database. Here's where I can query any information that we store in Salesforce and quickly retrieve the files of interest. Now, one other key thing I'd point out is here we can see we're on what we call the home screen. But if I click this little drop down, it's going to give me a list of what we call different objects in Salesforce. So for example, my leads, my contacts, my accounts. And you really want to think of this as almost a digital manila folder where I can go in and say, hey, what does the pipeline look like? Show me all my opportunities. Or maybe I want to look at my lead list today. And essentially, once we click into one of these, you want to think of it almost like a different page on an Excel spreadsheet. If I click into leads, it's going to show me a list of all the leads, along with all the headers or information that we track on those leads. From there, I can do things like apply filters, create segmentation lists, and really understand what I've got to do to move business along through the pipeline. So with that said, now I've moved over to my leads object. Here I can see things like all the new benefit leads that have come in under my name. We can track all these different headers, and really this is configurable. Salesforce is a completely configurable platform where we can add in custom fields and custom relationships, whatever real metrics or data points are going to be important to me to help me size up potential business. So here, for example, I've added a few things that we've tracked from landing pages on my website or from cold calls where I want to track things like the number of employees or lives represented. If I know that they have a current policy right now, when does that policy expire? And anything else that's important, what region or state it's within, the lead status. So is it a brand new lead or have I already engaged with them? And anything else that might be important. So I'm going to dive into Angela Velasquez, who's a VP of Operations at Natural Design. And I'm going to go into this little record and see everything we need to know about Angela. So now we're looking at what we call a lead record in Salesforce. At the top, you can see her name and any of the key information I want presented to me right at the top of the screen. As well, we've got what we call our status or stage campaign here, which shows me, are we actually engaged in working with this person or not? Is it a new lead we need to reach out to? And so on. On the right-hand side, we're going to see what we'll call table stakes CRM data. So this represents things like previous interactions, tasks, phone calls, emails that I might have sent out to this particular individual. And in the details section, here's where we determine all the information we want to track on a new potential lead. So for example, if I had on my landing page on Contact Me, all right, tell me a little bit about your company. How many employees do you have? What industry are you in? Do you have a current policy? And if so, when does that expire? And if we also want to track things or ask, do we know who that's through? We can really gather any information that you think will be important to get a POV on who this particular lead is and what we need to do to position. So here we can see a few different things. I've sent out an email letting Angela know, hey, thanks for reaching out. If I want to get some context and actually dive into all these interactions without clicking into each individual one, I've got the ability to expand them all right there. If I click that, it's going to show me things like the text from the email that I'd actually sent to her, or the notes from a call that we had in the past. This is a way that I can quickly gain context, refresh my memory, make sure that we know exactly how we've gotten from point A to point B. As well, you can tie in marketing tools to Salesforce. If we want to start doing things like tracking profitability of a campaign, which campaigns actually led to new leads engaging with us. So here under the marketing list, I've tied in a few things saying, I want to know what campaigns actually helped me bring Angela into our funnel. Here I can see that I've tied in my Google AdWords, and she actually, clicked on some of those words that we've been paying for. And as well, maybe I did some industry website ad placements. Here we can track those. And then once I start reporting on a macro level from a marketing standpoint, we can see what the return is on the actual campaigns or investments we've made within our marketing organization. Now, once we've talked to Angela and we've determined, there's an opportunity to win some business here, what Salesforce can do is say we're going to convert that lead. That does a few different things for us. First off, it's going to create a new contact in the CRM for Angela. It's going to create a new account for Angela as well, and it can create a new opportunity for us. Now, the important thing is here, maybe she doesn't move forward with us in our plan that we offer today. We still want to keep track of everyone we've talked to know when their policies are rolling over. So we might be able to remarket to them and get another opportunity next year, for example, if we don't close this business. However, if we decide we're going to actually go ahead and start this opportunity, I just need to click convert. And when I do that, it will create all these new records for me in a hierarchy within Salesforce, which I'll show in a moment. Now, as well, continuing on with my day in the life, I'm back on my home screen. There's a few other things that we want to do. We can see here that I've got some events. I set some time aside to find some targets to reach out to for a benefit seminar we're going to put on, for example. So here I can go into what we call campaigns in Salesforce. So here I've set up a campaign letting me know that we're doing a roadshow plan to inform some local business owners of our benefit service offerings. From there, we can start to add members to this campaign that we want to reach out to, that we want to maybe send invites to, set on a call list, and so on. So if I look at my contacts in Salesforce, now we can click in and see that it shows me all the contacts and relationships that I manage within the CRM. But if I want to isolate someone and say, hey, you know what, I want to make a list to add to this campaign, how can we do that? Salesforce has a very easy filtering function where I can add in filters based on any data that we track in the tool. So if I click in and we'll say, I want to find the account state, for example. And we'll say everyone that falls within New York. I can save and add that filter. Now it's showing me all the contacts that I have in the CRM, their titles, what accounts they work for, and so on, all within this easy list. I can do things like select everybody as they all look like a good fit because they're in New York, and I'm going to add them to that campaign so that now they're going to be on the mailing list. As well, from here, we can do things like send this entire list an email where we can use a nice mail merge function in Salesforce where it's going to pull in their first names, personalize it a bit, and say, hey, we're having a seminar coming up, next month. We'd love if you could join us, and so on. So within Salesforce, we can create templates. And when we create these templates, they're going to be usable and we can provide them to all our staff for things like marketing purposes, if there's a cross-sell initiative we might have, and so on. From there, I can send out that email to all these recipients, and we can even see things as far as who opened that email. Did they click through many times? Have they responded or RSVP to our event? So we can track who should I follow up with a phone call because they didn't really sign up yet, but I saw they looked at my email 4 times. And this really helps me to manage my prioritize my follow-up at scale based on data that we're gathering in the CRM. Now, if I go back to my group benefits seminar campaign, and I'll quickly refresh the page, it's going to update and show me that list of everyone we've added to the campaign under the related section. As well, if there's any marketing forms or emails we want to have, this shows me the campaign members that I've added. I can view in and see who's responded and not. And this can really help me plan for those types of marketing initiatives we might have, prioritize my follow-up, and so on. And as well, Salesforce will start to track too, for all those folks that we actually invited to this campaign who attended, how many opportunities did we open on them to secure some new business? That way, once we start converting and signing up new clients, it's going to give us metrics on things like our campaign effectiveness. What has been an effective use of our time and dollars to help grow our business and create awareness around our brand, our offerings, and really why folks want to work with us. Now going as well, back to my home screen, there's a few other things I want to do when I'm managing my day. Good example would be, I've got an event where I've put aside some time to run a white space report, and I want to start targeting current customers of mine who have active policies and plans that maybe don't have vision. Here I can go in and click into my account list. Now this shows me all the accounts in the CRM, including those that are prospects or not indicated as active. Or if I want to filter the list, it shows me the active ones that I have currently in my name, the coverages they have, any coverage gaps, and so on. From there, I can go in and I can make new lists. For example, now I've got active accounts that have coverage gaps, and it's going to help me say, all right, I can see everyone that's currently working with me, and these are my opportunities to upsell or cross-sell based on what we know and track about them. Perhaps if I wanted to come in and say that I would like to add a filter and say for my coverage gaps, I want to find everyone who doesn't have vision. I can go in and actually start to isolate all my accounts based on those different types of gaps that we might have in the offerings we track in Salesforce. From there, we can also go in and just take a look at my active clients. When did I speak to them last? When are their renewals? And really track anything that might be important to me about how I'm going to manage the current book of business I already have. Now, with that said, I'm going to show you what an active client looks like in Salesforce and the different opportunity types that we would manage. So for example, new business versus a renewal, and so on. Now I'm looking at a current account. This is Ohana Financial Group. I can see how long it's been since I last spoke with them. It shows that they're an active client. And here it shows things like when their renewal date is, the carrier with the plan, what our recurring premiums are, the coverages, our gaps, and so on. On the right-hand side, this is going to track all my interactions with this particular business. And under the related section is where I can track things like who are my key contacts. We see we've got Dan and Sharon, any opportunities we may have had. So initially, our new benefits plan, when we initially wrote the business, we can see here, that's a closed won opportunity. And then based on that closing on December 22nd, 2019, Salesforce automatically created a renewal opportunity based on a one-year plan term for me. So the minute I actually win new business, we're already planning ahead for our renewals. I don't have to do any of this manually. The system's doing it for me. As well, on a renewal opportunity, we can have things like point out to the user, where are the coverages and where are the gaps? Where's our opportunity to grow premium upon this renewal? And from there, how should we make a presentation to start positioning other ways that we can support their business through other different features and plan benefits? As well, if we want to track the active policy, we can do that here, which I'll dive into in a moment, and any cases. So for example, if they call in and say, you know what, we have a new election, can you help manage that? Here we can do that in Salesforce. We can also track things like files. So if there's key documents we have, contracts, anything for compliance purposes, we can host them right in Salesforce, and I can actually search these at any time. So for example, if I wanted to search this document, I could search up here, and this is going to pull up a document for me, as well as an account, an opportunity, and so on. Now, looking into an opportunity here, this is showing us the original opportunity we had with the Ohana Group. First off, we have different stages, and these are all configurable. So how do you want to look and measure your pipeline? Qualification, discovery, proposals or quotes, negotiation, open enrollment, and then actually closed. We can track the coverages of interest on the proposed plan, what the plan type might be. And these are all going to be drop downs we can configure in Salesforce depending on what types of products or plans that your firm actually sells to market. From here, we can also track the coverages that they'd be interested in. And then from there, it will automatically generate where our gaps are upon a renewal. And if we want to relate that to a carrier who's providing that plan, we can also do that within Salesforce. So with that said, this relationship would show me that if I clicked on Aetna, I could see every active plan that we have through Aetna with my clients today. We can also do things like track the commissions and any other important key metrics we'll want to see, and so on. Under the related section is where we're going to see everyone who's important to this opportunity. So here I can see the CEO or COO, Dan, is the decision maker here. So he's my key contact. On our side, I've got myself, who's the rep, but I could also have a support staff person if they're helping me to generate contracts, paperwork, things like that. We can have an opportunity team aligned to an account. And as well, this shows me any campaign influence. So maybe they attended that New York State benefits seminar, and that actually helped influence this opportunity. We want to be able to see those kind of metrics in Salesforce, going back to making sure that we know how are we spending our money and where is it being spent most effectively. Now, when we look at actually closing an opportunity, as I mentioned, we see that it closed back on the December 22nd of last year. Now, Salesforce sees that this opportunity is closed. It's going to take all the information we have here, and it's going to port it over to a renewal opportunity automatically for us. So here I can go in and see that I've got an upcoming renewal in December 22nd of this year, and now I've got different stages associated with a renewal opportunity. And once again, these are configurable to all the different ways you want to look and measure and manage those types of things. For right now, for example, I've got my planning phase, then we'll go to take it to marketing, we'll create a client presentation, and then from there, we know do we get the renewal or not. It's going to port over all the information so there's no double entry, letting us know right now, here's the current policy. And this shows us coverage gaps that we have that we can start to talk about upon renewal. How can we grow this book of business, deepen it a little bit, and so on. So right now, Salesforce is helping me to manage both my active opportunities for new business, my opportunities for upsell or cross-sell on renewals, my campaigns, and anything else that might be important to me. But really, this is a lot of information. How can I take this all in? And the way we can is through what we call dashboards and reports in Salesforce, which I will show you now. So as I'd mentioned, everything that we track in Salesforce can be reported on. Here, I've made an example sales executive dashboard that's going to look at a multitude of metrics across the business. As this loads up, I'll walk us through some of these reports, show you exactly how they can be applied. So for example, this is the report that I embedded on my home screen, showing me, new premium this quarter. And really, this is answering a few different questions. So how are we trending towards our growth goals? What about the sales pipeline? So which business is closest to the pin or closest to closing? The activities by rep, who's keeping busy? Maybe the pipeline by rep, maybe they're busy but not doing well. How can I help from a training perspective, enablement, so on? Maybe folks are newer and they just don't know how to talk or communicate effectively about the plans and services we offer. Now Salesforce is giving me a bit of insight into that. So I've got training opportunities to help my staff grow and become more competent. As well, I've got a more detailed list here of my open renewals. So if I want to see across the book of business at any given time, which renewals we have open with which client, what the premium amount is, when it's closing, any next steps, the stage, and who owns that opportunity. Scrolling down, we can also track things like the leaderboard. So if we've got goals set out for our sales staff or producers, how are we trending towards the targets we have this year? As well, looking at things and calling out the biggest deals that we might have in the pipeline, what our average opportunity size is, maybe this year versus last, and so on. So this is really a way that we can see several different lenses into the business based on what I care about. And all these reports are configurable to the business. So if there's something you need to see and we have data in Salesforce, myself and my team can create these reports and have them running on your dashboard at any given time. As well, there's great things like engagement reports. So if we have accounts listed in the system, which ones are neglected that have no activity on them? Should we put them on a call list to follow up? So here I can scroll through and hold folks accountable saying, Wendy, it's been 227 days since we've talked to anyone at Towson Inc. What are we waiting for? This also tracks things like our close rates, the forecast based on pipelines that we have in the, opportunities that we have in the pipeline. And maybe if we're doing competitive landscape and tracking, competing brokerages or group benefits firms in the region, and we know exactly who they are by gathering intel from folks we talk to, we can start to really understand how are we doing against competitors in the region. And here are two more that I really, really like, which I'll call accountability reports. So for example, opportunities where the next steps are not filled in. We want to make sure that if we have an opportunity with a potential customer or a renewal in the pipeline, that we know which opportunities are filled in terms of what we need to do next, what's already been done, and so on. Or for example, this one's called a reality check. Is our pipeline real? What if we have an opportunity that's been sitting for 30 days, 60 days with no active activity, movement, anything like that? This really helps us determine what is real in the pipeline versus what might just be fluff. This is a good way that we can kind of see and manage these processes, making sure that we're engaging the way we really want to with these prospective or current customers. Now, the benefit of all these reports and metrics that we see here is that at the bottom, they all have a hyperlink that actually takes me to the report. So instead of just seeing a nice graphic, I can actually see line by line which opportunities have come in under which rep, for what amounts, for which products or coverages, and get very, very granular with the way that we look at the data in the tool. For example, if I wanted to look at the pipeline by rep, let's click into that and dive in a little bit. Now it shows me that we've got 285 opportunities for a potential premium amount of about $10 million sitting in the pipeline today. But what if I want to know that I see, okay, Jeff's doing very well. He's got almost 2.5 million in the pipeline. Which opportunities are making up this? I simply need to just click on that section of the graph and it's going to filter down to Jeff as a rep. And we can choose what we want to filter on. Is it by product type, by region, by stage? And we can also determine what filters or which fields would I like to see here. Next steps, forecasted close dates, referral sources, really anything that would be important to visualize in Salesforce. We can also do things like trend analysis. A lot of management would like to know, hey, last month my pipeline was 3.5 million. This month it's 2. Where has that pipeline gone and what's happened? So Salesforce actually has reporting capabilities which can give us insight into that kind of data change. So there's a tool that they have called Einstein Analytics, which is essentially a business intelligence platform like a Power BI or something you might have seen or come across throughout your careers. And Salesforce has one that sits directly in the platform that allows us to do that type of in-depth reporting inside the CRM. Now, the final section I wanted to show before we wrap up today, maybe talk about any questions any folks might have, are things like workflow management. So what if I have some certain just workflows that I want to manage in the tool that have various certain steps and we want to make sure we're doing in a standardized way? Things like new elections or managing terminations, things like that. I can show us exactly what that can look like in Salesforce too. For example, if I go back to the Ohana Financial Group, here we have a case. I'm going to click into this case and show you exactly what it is. So this one is a new hire election. So we have what's called record types in Salesforce. Now, record type determines things like what fields we capture on that type of inquiry, any steps that need to be taken as we go through a process, and so on. So right here, we can see that there's maybe an initiation, there's a new contact within this organization, and he's going through new hire elections. And we want to actually track which ones has he gone through and done, and with which carrier has he opted in and out, and so on. And this would be a way where we can go and walk through all those different elections. So for example, yes, he's chosen the medical election effective this date. Here's the carrier and any other important information we might want to track. Really, what this does is just help us standardize by walking through the various steps along each step of the way in a process, helping us report on it too. So for example, if I want to know, hey, how long is it taking us to do a certain process internally? How long are things sitting in certain stages and so on? Salesforce is apt at reporting and those types of things to help us identify process bottlenecks within the organization where we might have some room to invoke automation or to streamline the way we work together and so on. Now, that essentially wraps up what I wanted to show today. I know I showed a lot, and I am very much looking forward to taking a breather here. But I'd love to open the floor up either via chat or however we think is best to moderate here. Rochelle, any questions that any folks might have for me, for use cases of Salesforce, and anything else that might pop into mind. So thanks so much for sitting through the presentation.
Thank you very much, Jeff. I appreciate that. That was really great. It doesn't look like we have any questions in the chat, but we can give it a couple of minutes if you would, just in case. In the meantime, while anybody's getting any questions together, I believe Stacy Dexter may have joined us from Consumer Medical. Stacy, if you're there, if you'd like to join and chat in for a minute and give us a little bit of information about your company, and we'd love to hear about it, and we appreciate your sponsorship. I must have lost her. Okay, well, again, Consumer Medical is as a sponsor of the forum today with Stacy Dexter. Reach out and go into our virtual forum. That's next on our agenda. We have an 11 o'clock virtual forum. Please go into our sponsor rooms and check out what they have to see and learn a little bit more about their companies. Without our sponsors, we wouldn't have been able to do the forum today. So we greatly appreciate them. Again, thank you, Jeff, for your presentation. And if we get any questions after the fact, we'll definitely funnel those over to you, Jeff. But it doesn't look like we have any questions coming in, so we'll go ahead and thank you again, and we appreciate it, and enjoy the rest of the day.
You betcha. Thanks everyone for your time. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.